It was almost 11 p.m. when Rahul, Tanmay, and Abhi, three friends, were returning from the city. They stopped at an unfamiliar roadside eatery as their car had a punctured tire. A dim light flickered overhead, and the shadows of a dense jungle seemed to dance in the wind. The eatery bore the name Burro by Dhaba. A withered old man, who appeared to be the owner, sat silently with an uncanny sorrow in his eyes. The friends sat on a cot to take a rest. It was then that the old man whispered, "Where you come from isn't important, but from here, people don't leave." Rahul chuckled. "Are you trying to scare us?" The old man glanced at a red lantern that burned dimly. "If I told you a story of fear, you'd laugh. But if I told you a story of darkness, you might cry." As night deepened, they sipped tea and then heard a woman's voice softly calling. Tanmay stood up and asked, "Who's there?" But there was no answer. Only a white cloth fluttered under a tree near the dhaba. A stone bucket lifted by itself and overturned. Beneath it was a tiny handprint, but not a human one, as if made from cold clay. The dhaba owner spoke again. "She has awakened. She has chosen one among you." They tried to flee, but their car wouldn't start. Phones had no signal. The clock stopped at 12:01. Through the dhaba window appeared a face of a girl, eyes bloody, lips with an empty smile. She said, "You sit in the place where my husband burned me alive. I now return in that fire to burn new souls." Rahul suddenly vanished. Tanmay and Abhi searched frantically until they found him by a well. They called him, and as he turned, his face was gone, just a hollow pit. He said, "I've merged into her, now it's my turn." Tanmay fell and found a note. 3 came. "One is mine, one will vanish, and one will carry the tale." In the morning, police found Abhi unconscious by the well. There was no trace of Rahul or Tanmay. Abhi woke up and only uttered, "I haven't returned. I'm now her story." The dhaba's lantern suddenly lit itself. The familiar tune floated in the air. "Come, return me." Strange events began in Abhi's life. His reflection smirked at him in mirrors despite him not smiling. A call came at 12:01 a.m. "You've returned, but I linger in your shadow." Police officer Ratan Ghosh discovered a burnt diary behind the dhaba. "I am Ranu. Where is my child? I came from fire. My shadow spreads. Those who spend the night at the dhaba either become my child or the shadow." At the end of a page, there was an inscription. "Ratan Ghosh, it's your turn now." On Abhi's room wall was written, "Where is my mother?" Rana's spirit whispered, "Search for my son. You have 3 nights, or I take you forever." Ratan and Abhi went to an old ruined mansion. They found 3 graves, one newly dug. 3 hands emerged from them. One lives, one returns after death, and one gets entwined in the illusion. Abhi then disappeared. Ratan left a child's toy by the well. "You were a mother, now find peace." The fire flared up. Abhi returned, his gaze fixed on Ratan's eyes. But in those eyes was a shadow, on those lips Rana's smile. "Thank you, officer. I am reborn." A month later, the dhaba reopened. The new owner, Abhi. He chatted amiably with everyone but whispered at night, "Mom, new guests have arrived. Now it's their turn." The lantern flickered out. On the wall it was inscribed, "Shadows never end. They merely change form." Many years ago, in the secluded village of Shyamnagar in East Bengal, there existed a mysterious river, the Bharani River. By day, the river was calm, but come nightfall, the river seemed to transform into something entirely different. Strange mists would envelop the waters, accompanied by the haunting strains of a mysterious boatman's song. The elders of the village told tales. Crossing Bharani after nightfall is akin to inviting death. For those who dared attempt crossing at night never returned. By morning, only fragments of broken boats and peculiar footprints remained. Arnab was a young farmer in Shyamnagar, courageous, stubborn, and curious. He did not believe in superstitions. One evening, Arnab's father fell suddenly and severely ill. The village healer insisted the medicine must be fetched before nightfall from a distant village across the Bharani River, Banshapur. The villagers pleaded, "Arnab, set out when dawn breaks, don't venture tonight." But determined to save his father's life, Arnab wasted no time. With a lantern in hand, he made his way to the river. At Bharani's bank, Arnab saw a dense mist settled over the water. No boat in sight, only the eerie sound of oars rhythmically slicing through water beneath. Suddenly, a boat emerged from the fog. A spectral figure at its center, a skeletal boatman formerly known as Madhu Maji. He was bereft of flesh, merely bones, his hollow eyes and quivering voice singing a haunting tune. Arnab shivered briefly but recalled his father and courageously boarded the boat. As they reached the middle of the river, the surrounding mist grew thicker. The river turned crimson, reminiscent of countless human blood. Suddenly, the boatman spoke in a grave tone. "Wayfarer, do you know whose boat you have boarded?" Arnab quivered, replying, "I'm fetching medicine for my father. Please let me pass." Madhu Maji spoke slowly. "Once, driven by greed, I drowned innocent passengers. For this sin, I am cursed upon this river. Those who board my vessel become imprisoned souls in Bharani's depths." Arnab glanced into the waters below. A myriad of shadows swirled, souls seeking escape. Fear froze Arnab, yet he was moved by the boatman's profound remorse. He removed the sacred bilva leaves garland from his neck and placed it upon Madhu Maji's bony hand. Instantaneously, the river roared, the sky illuminated with lightning. The skeletal boatman's form dissolved into golden rays, vanishing into the air. The fog cleared, and the water's hue returned to normal. Arnab found himself alone on the riverbank, lanterns still aglow in hand. He brought the medicine from Banshapur and saved his father's life. His courage and compassion released the cursed Madhu Maji. From then on, the Bharani River spread no terror come nightfall. Yet, even today, if one stands by Bharani's shore on a full moon night and listens deeply, they may discern the lamenting, liberating song of Madhu Maji.